Shane. Well, it's almost that time of year when the snow melts and you have to start prepping your yard and garden for spring. Perry Stoddart from Classic Landscapes and Ellerslie Gift joins us via Skype this morning. Perry, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, great to have you. So what are the first few things people should start taking care of now? I mean, the snow's not all gone, and I dare say winter's not quite over yet, but where do we start?
Yeah, we're almost there, and while we're all chomping at the bit, there are some things we can take care of, and we're going to maybe talk about seeds and seed starting in a second. But one thing I did want to highlight for a lot of people is that even though the ground's starting to thaw out, we're starting to get some nicer temperatures. Obviously, it's a beautiful day today and this weekend. One of the things you can sort of focus on and plan ahead for is if you have a garden or flower beds or things like that, you can amend them with compost or different kinds of soil. To sort of improve the overall health and nutrition of your soil. Those are some things you can do sooner rather than later. Maybe we're not quite there, but in the coming weeks for sure. I know we often target May as middle of May even as sort of those frost-free days. And so having plants that you're going to bring from indoors to outside, you might want to wait a little bit, just because obviously young seedlings that you might have got started at home are more sensitive to cold and stuff like that. But, seed starting is really the big one that we see a lot of people doing now that you can be, very effective, again, to shorten that harvest time once you're able to plant things out in the garden.
Okay. So what are some common issues perhaps carried over from fall and winter, maybe stuff you neglected to do in the fall that have developed during winter? What kind of problems are homeowners going to run into as they prep their yards now, do you think?
Yeah, one of the things, or most common questions I see in the fall is, do I cut back my perennials or, should I cut things back or do pruning maybe on your trees and stuff like that? And honestly, the answer is for a lot of perennials, it's better to leave them. Things that have a little bit of a seed head on their flower or whatever offer, food and food sources to winter birds and stuff like that. And so if you want to clean them up by cutting them back now because you didn't earlier, that's fine. Things like grasses perhaps that may have died back in the winter and offered some, beautiful winter interest. Well, now we're going to have the new growth. And so you can cut that back. Maybe you work them into some arrangements in the house, but you can clean up those sorts of things. Perhaps you might have some areas of the yard that are starting to thaw out, especially if they're south-facing. The snow is creeping away. You might start to see some, snow molds and things like that. That's not really a concern. But if you had some leaf litter that you didn't deal with and there's, molds and different things, powdery mildew on it, it's a good idea to, rake those up and bag it as opposed to putting them in your compost pile. If the leaf litter is healthy, like you can't see any obvious signs, they're just decomposing or whatever over the winter, that's fine. They can be added to your compost pile now. Those are a couple of the things. Maybe if you didn't aerate in the fall, you can aerate your lawn. If it's a high traffic location, that's a good idea. Might be a little early for that because you want the ground not to be frozen a few inches down, but you could probably get that started sooner rather than later. Aerating is a really great thing, again, for higher traffic or older lawns. It allows compaction to be overcome by loosening up the soil. Fertilizer, water, infiltration is all improved. And it's a great idea. Again, if you've got a new lawn, maybe a year or two old, it's not something you're going to need to do just yet. But maybe if you're getting that 5 to 10 year range or you've got the kids running through an area a lot, it's a good idea to aerate in the spring as well.
During this last year of COVID and, of course, the carryover from it now, are you noticing a big change in what people are wanting to do with the yards? Have you seen a big increase in people wanting to garden and taking care of their yards a little bit better?
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously a lot of it is that we've been forced to stay home more. But I think that the positive side of that is people are realizing that they can relieve stress and sort of that return to a traditional thought of improving your yard, improving your space. And it doesn't have to be something that adds a lot of time and effort. Just by improving the things around us with beautiful plants or, other things. It might be gardening. Gardening's had a real uptick. People want to get, their hands dirty and be active in the yard. So there's that option as well. But I mean, whether you do that on a larger scale or just have some small containers that you might grow some herbs in, those things are all being, very positive. Because again, I think people are going, okay, I got to be at home. But you know what? This isn't so bad. I kind of enjoy this. I feel better in this space. And so I'm going to spend more time here when maybe in the past years, it wasn't something I made a priority.
And didn't have the time for, but now you might make the time for it. Very quickly,
Absolutely.
Tell us about you've got a 22,000 square foot greenhouse opening in early April. What's that all about?
Yeah, it's super exciting. We're actually going to combine our Classic Landscape Center and Ellerslie Gift and Garden locations. I'm in the Ellerslie Gift and Garden tropical greenhouse right now. We're actually expanding all of our space, so larger tropical offerings, and it's just a great opportunity. State-of-the-art building. We're doing things like capturing rainwater. It's got a glass ceiling that we can open on warmer days to the fresh air outside. So we're totally excited. crazy busy getting ready for everybody, but really excited too.
Sounds good, Perry. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on everything.
Thanks. Take care.
You too. For more great ideas on how to prep your yard during spring, you can check out Ellerslie Gift and Garden, located on the corner of Ellerslie Road and Calgary Trail, across the street from Classic Landscapes. For more information, you can visit classiclandscapes.com or ellersleegift.com.